Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. This is the this is the episode I have been anxiously waiting to do. I'm so excited to talk about the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. I went on Saturday, May 4th. It ran the 4th and the 5th, so yeah, we weren't sure. I have been planning to go to this pretty much since last year when I found out about it, and we couldn't go last year because it was prom time and like a lot of stuff was happening and just couldn't afford it, honestly. And yeah, so Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. What is a Sheep and Wool Festival? You guys should know by now because I've talked about it a couple times, but it is, depending on the location, it is a very cool setting. Like this is my second sheep and fiber festival that I have been to. The one I went to in North Carolina was the Carolina Fiber Fest or something like that. It was very small in comparison to the Maryland Sheep and Wool. In this video, I am going to start off with what I did to prepare. We're going to, and I should write that down, prep, because I kind of have a list going, but what I did to prepare, my thoughts on how the day went, and stories. And then we will end out the video with the gorgeousness that I purchased. Okay. So I wrote a bunch of notes because I know I'm going to forget something because there was a lot going on. So if I look down, it's because my little notepad is right there. Alright. Now, I did a lot more research for the Carolina Wool or Fiber Fest because I had never been to a Fiber Fest before. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what not to expect. I didn't know how to behave. I didn't know what it was going to be like. It is a bunch of vendors, local farm people, or local indie dyers, or fiber people that, I mean, and it's everything from pottery, food items. So like there was a couple of honey vendors from apiaries. There was pottery people there with like really cool coffee mugs and or yarn bowls and stuff like that. Really unique, cool stuff. There were vendors that made spindles of all kinds. Handmade drop spindles, handmade Turkish spindles, or vendors that were selling third-party big spindles like the spinning wheels and e-spinners, and I mean anything that you could possibly imagine they had. There was also which is related to the sheep and the wools and the goats and stuff, there was a couple of cheese vendors who sold goat cheese, which we did purchase some because Juju loves goat cheese. I love goat cheese. By the time we got the cheese home, we realized we didn't really like it that much. It was a little bit grainy. And we have a local vendor at our local market here who sells goat cheese, which is far superior to what we experienced in Maryland, but it is what it is. She also got some honey from one of the apiaries, and the honey was phenomenal. It was clover honey, so it was that real strong kind of, clover honey kind of has a stank to it. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I am an expert in honey. My favorite honey I have ever experienced is from Turkey, and it is Wild Forest. I think it's called Wild Forest honey. Whew, that stuff tastes on a whole new planet. Like, Turkish honey is the best, but the problem is that I have no idea where to buy it. I found it at Big Lot on a whim one time, and I don't even know what brand it was, but it was in these little tiny squeeze tubes, and I was like, oh, let's try a new variety of honey. Had no idea they were from Turkey. I had never heard of Wild Forest honey, and it was so good. It was my favorite honey I've ever had. Anyway, it has nothing to do with anything, but alright, so to prepare for this year's Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, I went on the app, well, not the app, I went on their website and signed up for whatever, and then I followed them on all the social medias that they were on, and I got notification that the vendor list had came out, and I don't remember if they sent it to my email or if I saw it somewhere and clicked the link. I don't remember. Attack of the yawns again. I don't know why I'm tired. I shouldn't be tired. I'm talking too fast and my brain's not getting enough oxygen. And there's drainage going down my ear. Good time. This is what it's like after you spend time out in the rain. splashing and getting soaked and all that stuff. Now I got stuff going on in my head. Alright, so I am very all over the place, and I can feel that I'm all over the place. I do apologize for that if this is hard to follow. So I downloaded the list of vendors, and I went through them. I looked at the map, and like I said, I followed them mostly on Facebook because it seems like that's where they were posted most often. Take some deep breaths, and hopefully that will stop me from yawning. I went through the list, and I'm like, okay, who do I recognize? And I went through, and I'm like, okay, I recognize this vendor, this vendor, this vendor, this vendor. The vendors I recognized was Kim Dyes Yarn, Flying Goat Farms, Mrs. Babs. There was quite a few that I recognized because I either have seen them at other events, I have seen them in local yarn shops, I have purchased from them. One of those things. Oh my goodness. I'm driving myself crazy with the yawning. I also have not had any caffeinated beverages today because I'm out. It was one of those mornings when I woke up, I just didn't want to be awake. I was still really tired. And little man's not sleeping real well because of his new medication, so there's like a lot going on there, but I shouldn't be this tired. Not to where I'm yawning constantly. So I went through and I did a very minimal research because the list was... The pamphlet that they sent me in my email was like 16 pages long of vendors. And at first it just listed all of the vendors, and then it listed the vendors by what they're vending. And so I went through the initial list and I was like, oh, what are they selling? And I went through, I was like, okay, well, this sounds cool, this cool. And I made a mental note. I did not go into as much detail as I did with the Yarn Crawl or with the Carolina Fiber Fest because I did not have the same budget for either of those events by a long, like it was a huge difference between what I had for this budget and what I'd had for those budgets. And I was very careful, and I followed the same rule I followed with every other event I've been doing. I pulled out cash from my account, and when this cash was gone, I was done spending. And I actually walked away $45 under my budget. So I was a little disappointed because I'm like, I know that I could have bought this braid that I saw at one of the vendors because it was $38. And then I was like, no, because that $45 can go to, I mean, if you want a snack later in the week, or if you want to go buy, I discovered some new waters at the grocery store. It's from the brand Ice, and they're Starburst flavored. And you guys know I drink the Starburst blue and the Starburst pink. No, is it Starburst blue? The flavor packets. I use those in my water, but then these are already pre-mixed water and they're carbonated, so it makes you feel like you're drinking a soda. And it's Starburst flavor, but the Starburst in the Ice brand waters tastes more like you're sucking on a Starburst, and they're sugar-free, than the drink mixes. And specifically the pink one and the lemon one. Fantastic. They taste like a Starburst. I don't even like Starburst that much because I don't like anything sticking to my teeth, but those are really good. So that's really all the prep that I did for the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. I did watch a couple of videos from last year, but I wasn't sure we were going to be able to go. Like, it was a very much, I just don't know if we're going to be able to go. I really want to go. I don't know if we're going to be able to go. I really want to go. I really wanted to go for several reasons. I wanted to experience it. I wanted to pet sheep, which I succeeded at doing, and I wanted to have a family day with my kids and my husband. I have not yawned all day. I turned on the camera, I kid you, and this is funny, and you're gonna laugh, because if you watch yesterday's video, this is gonna make you laugh. Mr. Cinnamon has a knack for calling when I'm recording. Like, he won't call me, and then like the second I start to record, My phone is ringing, and my phone is loud because half the time I can't hear it because like I have slight hearing issues. Okay, one of my ears is bad and one of my ears is okay, but like I've had hearing problems since I was a little kid. It is a inherited genetic thing for my dad, from his mother. It's like it's a generational thing. They call it her last name curse. So yeah, I kid you not, I came in here to record this video. I literally sat down in the chair, my phone rang, and I just put my camera up there and I answered the phone. I was like, wow, really? He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I just sat down to record. I didn't know, I swear I didn't know. Oh, but yeah. All right, so it was off and on, like if we were even going to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, and I even told you guys Friday, like I just didn't know what was gonna happen. Watch that be him. No, it's UPS or USPS. And so the weather looked horrible for the whole weekend. Rain in the forecast, storms in the forecast, and I'm like, ugh. And it's supposed to actually rain all this week too. The weather has just been just crap. I know it looks bright out there, but it's not. It's not. It's gloomy and gross. So Saturday morning, woke up. Little man's on a new medication. Oreo the night before was in a lot of pain. And she's been fine since the whole vet thing. She just was like, the night before, she was bad. I had to give her painkillers, and she just didn't want to move. And she was very like, you could tell she didn't feel good. So I'm like, I actually at one point woke up in the middle of the night because she was in my bed with me, because when she's sick, I take care of her. And so I got me, Mr. Cinnamon, and 2 dogs in our bed, right? And I woke up and I sat up, and Oreo was not moving, like, at all. It didn't look like she was breathing, which scared me because I'm like, did my dog just die on my bed? And this is the night before the Sheep and Wool Festival, okay? And I'm like sitting up looking down at her, and she is not moving at all. Like dead still. Pun fully intended. And I reached over and I tapped her butt, and she real slow, like, lifted her head and looked at me, and I was like, I thought you were dead. I thought you were dead. Dude, don't be dead right now, okay? So like that, and then the next, we wake up and it's morning of, and we're supposed to be on the road at 8 o'clock, and we wake up and it's like 8:30, I think. And Mr. Cinnamon's cooking breakfast. Little man decides he's gonna throw up. And so I'm like, I already bought the tickets to go at this point, because I'm like, I'm all in. Let's just go and make it a good day, right? Let's just have fun. He decides he's gonna throw up, and I think it's because he took his medicine and then ate first, or he didn't eat first and then take his medicine, and it might have been, or it could have been a lot of reasons. Like, he throws up randomly if like there's a weird texture in his mouth, or like he doesn't like the flavor, he will throw up. It's a sensory thing with him. And I'm like, it's raining outside. And I'm like, let's just get in the car, and if he continues, he throws up again on the way there, we'll turn around, we'll come home, right? He was fine the whole rest of the day. Matter of fact, he had a hot dog and cheese fries at the event. He was a happy kid. He really enjoyed the day. And it's funny because it's raining the whole way there. Just pouring on us. And yeah, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a miserable day. I got my hoodie on. I told everybody, put a coat on. It's cold outside. It's raining. Put a jacket on. At least the jacket will give you some sort of protection from the rain. I meant to buy ponchos. Never got to the store to buy the rain ponchos, you know, the big plastic bags. Never got around to making those, so we didn't have those. Mr. Cinnamon ignored me telling him to put a coat on, so he just had a shirt on, and he was soaked through to the bone. His pant legs are always like hitting the ground. His pant legs were soaked. And I'm like, inside my shoes were soaked. I had this hoodie on, and this is a very thick hoodie, and it was soaked, which made it so heavy, but it kept my inside shirt for the most part dry. So we get all the way there, right? And the line to get in to the fairgrounds was intense. It was a good line, like, and then the cops are splitting people. Like, the fairground is on this side, and they just stopped us, and they're like, oh no, you're gonna go over there on the other side of the road and park on somebody's grass. I'm assuming it's part of their property, but like, we're on somebody's grass now. And I'm like, and we drive up in on the grass, and we see 2 school buses up there, and Mr. Cinnamon stops, rolls down his window, and asks one of the teenage boys that are direct in traffic that I think are part of the Boy Scouts or something. He's all, are those shuttles? And the kid goes, yeah. And that was no more information. They're just shuttle. Like, he was standing in the rain. He wasn't happy anyway. He didn't want to give us any more information than that. So we park, right? We hightail it back to the buses. Now, it's been years since any of us have been on a school bus. I mean, the kids ride school buses. Our school district has school buses, so little man rides the bus home every day. Juju rode the bus to and from school every day since 3rd grade, I think. And, like, school bus is not new to them, but I grew up in a school district that couldn't afford buses. Mr. Cinnamon's school district didn't have buses. We walked to and from school, you know. Like, this school bus thing is kind of weird. And so we get on the school bus, and I'm like, I don't remember the last time. It's been years since I've been on a school bus. I was like, I think maybe 3rd grade for me was the last time I rode in a school bus. And then I was like, no, wait a minute. I went on a field trip with Juju when she was in like 3rd or 4th grade. We went to we went strawberry picking out at Westburyland Farms. Westmoreland Berry Farm. What a weird name, dude. And so we went strawberry picking. It was fun. She was tiny little thing though. I think it might have been in 2nd grade. And I was like, I think that's the last time I rode on a bus. And before that, it was 2nd or 3rd grade for me, because we did not have school buses. And when we had field trips for our school, parents had to volunteer to drive us. So they would stick 5 or 6 kids per car, per parent. And that's how we went to the zoo or the art museum or whatever. You know, we did not have buses. We did not have transportation. And we only had a handful of field trips, not like the school district we live in currently. The kids have a field trip every year. Little man this year went to Jamestown, which he loved, and he went to a baseball game. He went and saw the Fredericksburg Nationals. So he enjoyed that immensely. So yeah, it was kind of cool. But the school bus smelled like my mom's dad. And like I said, I had a grandpa that lived down the street. He was not at all in any kind of way a grandfather to me. He was more like a pest that lived down the street. He was a really cranky old man. He complained about absolutely everything to anyone who would listen. And he had his favorite children, his favorite grandchildren, and we were not part of that. Which is crazy because we literally lived down the street. And of all the grandchildren, we were probably the best behaved. And there was a lot of us. But the bus smelled like him. It smelled like a mixture of dirty clothes, dust, and Copenhagen, which is chewing tobacco. Did not care for the smell on the bus. And there was a whole group of people that looked like they were Inuits, and they sounded like they were Inuits, and I was like, wow, they're a long way from home. They came all the way here from Alaska. It was kind of cool. I was like, I like listening to accents. I like listening to, and what's funny is I love listening to accents, but I have a really hard time comprehending accents. My brain does not register a lot of things. If somebody has a thick accent, I can't listen to you. I have no idea what you're saying. Can somebody translate? Even if they're speaking proper English, but if they have a thick accent, like even a regional accent. So Mr. Cinnamon's family is from Southern California, and there is a very specific Mexican leaning accent, and they use a lot of words that I'm not familiar with. And like the first couple of times I met his family, I'm looking, I'm like, I have no idea what your godmother just said to me. What did your Nina just say? I don't know. She just called me a name. It was Mija. I had no idea what Mija meant. I looked at him, I was like, what'd she just call me? So, like, I love the sound of accents, but I also, at the same time, my brain doesn't like to process them. It's a weird gen quirk thing. So anyway, it's still raining at this, I mean, it's raining. She drops us up, the bus driver drives us up through traffic, drops us off towards the front. The prepaid ticket line was longer than the people who were buying tickets with cash. And I'm like, well, maybe we should have just spent a couple extra dollars and just waited, because then we could have got in faster and not be standing in the rain longer. It wasn't like horrible, but it was line after line, you know. And when we got in there, my goal was to see the animals. That's what I really cared about. There were a couple things on my shopping list I wanted to buy, but like my goal was the animals. And oh, I was so happy when I got to pet so many sheep. And I actually tell this story in the members video, like in more detail, but there was one particular sheep. He was a black sheep. I should be editing this to pop up videos and stuff. So if stuff is popping on the screen, it's because I intended it to be that way. There was one black sheep in particular. Okay, rewind. When we first went into the barns, there were all of these breeds of sheep that had bangs, okay? So they had bangs. But their bangs were curly cues, like really tight curly cues, like just the cutest, the cutest little curly bangs. And I know very little about sheep, okay? I don't even pretend that I do. And I was like, oh my God, they're so cute. They have bangs. And I was like completely enamored. I was like, oh, they have bangs. Those ones didn't want to be petted at all. They were staying towards the back of the pens. They were not friendly coming up to everybody. The black sheep in particular. Oh my, first of all, I love the way he felt. He had very tight corkscrew curls, like on his entire body. And he was a black sheep, all the way black. And he comes up to me, and his face kind of reminded me of Bentley a little bit, because he has kind of a long face. And he looked me right in my eyes, and I was like, and I'm talking to him, you know, and I put my hand like this so he could smell my hand to let me know whether or not he wanted to be touched. Because animals will let you know, touch me, don't touch me, stay away from me, I don't like you, right? So he leaned towards me a little bit, and I started rubbing his head, and he didn't like that. He backed up, and I was like, all right. So I started, now when you pet a sheep, they have like 4 inches of fluff on their body. So in order to reach where they can actually feel you petting them, you kind of have to like dig your fingers in between the curls. Okay. So my hand was all the way, like I was this deep in the fluff, which I'm not mad about at all. I love, like, that's a total sensory thing. Those tight little packed curls. Okay. I just, I love those tight little black curls so much. My hand is in there, right? And I'm rubbing his skin, and you can feel like bits of debris that are in there. And I can imagine that that gets itchy, that you have like sticks or dirt underneath your, like, think about when your head gets dirty and you itch because you got like dirt in your hair because you've been working in the yard, or like your kid threw sand in your hair and it starts to get itchy at the base. It's the same thing with sheep, okay? They have like crusties. And so I'm in there and I'm scratching, like, give him a little good massage up under those curls, right? And he is, it might have been a she, I don't know. He's into it. He closed his eyes like a dog would do and just kind of leaned in, like, yeah, that's the spot right there. And I was like, oh my God, we're best friends now. We're best friends. You have to come home with me. And there were actually a couple of sheep there that were for sale. And I was like, if I did not live in a stupid HOA, I would be coming home with sheep. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'd be coming home with sheep. We'd have a little flock in the backyard. I would have to train the dogs how to take care of the sheep. Like, it would be a thing. It would be a whole thing. I loved being in the sheep barn so much. And there were several sheep barns. Like, there was a lot of sheep. Hundreds of sheep. All different varieties, breeds. All different colors. There were some that were black and white like cows. Like, it was just so cool. And I was standing in the barn. Now, it's raining, so I'm standing there like this. Now, if you see me on the street, you're not going to know I'm Cinnamon Stitches. Especially if you, like, can only see this part. Because honestly, like, you think you know what I look like because you're looking at me every day. But when you're in person, you're like, oh, is that her? Because every single time someone's come up to me, I hear them behind me. Is that her? I don't know if that's her. I think that's her. Okay. I didn't hear nobody behind me, but I was getting hot because it was hot in the barns. It was hot in the buildings. It was cold and rainy outside, and like the moisture is building up on you, so then like it feels like it's extra hot, right? So I did this. The second my hood came off, Chen, she's coming from behind me, so all she sees is purple hair, right? She may have seen family members though. I mean, Little Man is very recognizable. Juju's very recognizable with her flame red hair. Mr. Cinnamon had a bright red shirt on, as did Little Man, right? So I turned around, and it was, I forgot how to pronounce her name. I think it's Aquila. I want to say it's Aquila. It could be Aquila. But she is the left-handed knitter, I think. The left-handed knitter. I'm not finding her that way, so we'll look up her other name. Aquila the Hun. Aquila the Hun. Why can't I spell Hun? There she is. A lefty knitter. So she pops up behind me. She actually emailed me a couple weeks ago when I had mentioned the festival, or Sheep and Wool Festival. I mentioned it on the channel, and she came up behind, or she emailed me, and she's like, hey, a little bit of advice, because she goes every year. Apparently I've been watching her channel, because I didn't know she had a channel when she contacted me. I've been watching, she goes to a lot of fiber fests. She's actually going to go to Shenandoah, which I totally am going to go to Shenandoah in September. I'm planning for it now. And then she also went to Frederick, is it Frederick Fiber Fest, or Frederick, the one that was just like a couple days ago. And she was at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival too. She says she goes every year, and like the best advice that she can give is to bring a blanket and set it up down by where the dog, they have dog competitions where the sheepdogs, where they herd the sheep. And she said, set it up down there, save yourself a little spot so you have a place to go sit and watch the dog stuff. And I was like, that's excellent advice. But it, first thing she came up to me, she goes, I'm the one that emailed you about the blanket. She goes, but this weather, you can't put a blanket out. She goes, I don't know if they're going to do the dog contest anyway because of the weather. And they did, but I didn't get to see them because we didn't stay long because the weather is really hard to walk around in that kind of weather. But she came up to me first, and then she didn't say a whole lot. She just mentioned that she was the one that emailed me. She was glad to meet me, etc. And then we went back to, like, I'm like, all right, let's go shopping, right? Well, since it was raining, I had just purchased this bag from Aldi, because Aldi is the type of store, if you've never been to Aldi, Aldi is the type of store where you have to bring your own bags, or you have to pay for bags when you're there, which a lot of regions are starting to do that as well. Like, you have to pay for the bags. I live in a section of the county where they don't make you pay for bags, but Aldi's and Lidl and those kind of stores still make you buy bags. But I like having my own bags at those stores anyway. I buy the box bags, which literally open up to be like a box with handles. Forgot them because Mr. Cinnamon refuses to put them in his new truck. And so I bought this while we were at Aldi last week when we were buying groceries. It was $7, but it's a cooler bag, which means it's plastic lined, and it's not waterproof, but it's water resistant. So I was like, I'm bringing that, and that way everything will stay dry that I purchase. I don't plan on buying more than what would fit in that bag anyway. And I actually, it did really good because Juju bought goat cheese and she bought honey, and we just put those in the bottom of the bag too, and they stayed cold the 2.5 hour drive home. And so everything worked out having the cooler bag, and everything stayed bone dry even though it was pouring rain outside. All right, let's see. Covered rain, school bus, parking. There were so many cars for the parking. The actual parking closest to the fairgrounds, there were so many cars over there. I could not believe how many people were there. I've been to plenty of like state fair type situations growing up. I had never seen a situation like the Maryland sheep or the Maryland the fairgrounds in Maryland. Like, it was expansive, just rolling hills of grass that people were parked on. It was as far as you could see. Hundreds and hundreds of cars. They did send me a free map with the list of vendors, so I had that on my phone already, but you could purchase, once you got inside, for a $5 donation, you could purchase the paper version of the map and the vendors, but I was like, it's on my phone, like, it's not a big deal. I wrote down notes so that I could give you guys as much information as possible. There were a ton of food vendors, like at a typical state fair type situation. There was like a row of just like roach coach trucks, or like, you know, the pretzel beer, the French fries, corn dogs. They had lamb burgers. Like, there were so many vendors. Pit style beef. The problem for someone like me and Juju is we have food allergies, and those vendors have no idea when you ask them, is there wheat or gluten in these? Is like, what is in it? I have no idea, because a lot of times they're buying stuff frozen and throwing it in the deep fryer. Most of the time. I was told by, well, Mr. Cinnamon was told by one vendor that the only one that she knows for a fact is probably safe is the spiral cut potato fries, because that's all they sell. And there shouldn't be anything else that goes into their fryer, but she can't be sure of that. See, now, cross-contamination is a real thing that we have to deal with. Like, if you go to a place and a spoon is in this and a spoon touches that and this had wheat in it, the wheat has now gone into this food, and we can have, we get sick from that. It's that simple of a thing could happen to it touch something, and now we're sick. And it sucks, because I would love to have some cheese fries with my son. I would absolutely love that. Or, you know, I miss corn dogs, but corn dogs most of the time have flour in the batter. So while there were plenty of food options for people who don't have food allergies, the only one booth that was safe for certain, because we didn't even go see the spiral cut French fry people, because me and Juju would rather be safe than sorry. One of the food vendors actually had a sign that said, we have gluten-free cinnamon nuts, but there's a risk of cross-contamination because other things in here have gluten on them. So I appreciated the sign and the knowledge of that. And most times we're safe in that type of a situation, but it also is a risk that we were not willing to take. But there were a lot of food options. There was a lot of food vendors, and yeah. I think I covered all of that. There were also several different barns and exhibition buildings that had vendors in them. And it's funny, because what I read and what I saw in videos is that the main exhibition hall is the most busy. And I don't know if this was because weather or what circumstances or what. I did not find that to be true. The main exhibition hall, which is the largest of the buildings with the most vendors, was the most empty. Everyone was piled into the little tiny buildings. Just jam-packed. There were so many people you couldn't get through half the time. I couldn't enter some booths that I saw that I wanted to get into because there's like 30 people in a 10 by 10 booth. And I'm like, it was so claustrophobic at times. I was like, get me out of this building, get me out of this building, get me out of this building. The main exhibition hall was not like that. It was so wide open and there were so many like places to go. I was way more comfortable walking through the main exhibition hall. I was more able to get into booths very easily. There were a lot of booths that didn't have anybody standing in them. To me, it was exactly opposite of everything I had read and saw in videos. And it could have been the day or the time that I went. It could have been because of the weather. I don't know what it was, but don't believe everything you see and read online. Don't even believe this video, because like your experience may have been totally 100% reversed from what I experienced. I found a lot of really cool vendors there that I wanted to buy from, but I was on a very small budget compared to what I have been on at previous events. And I think I did really good for what I purchased. And I'm going to show you what I purchased. I also, the last thing of the day, so we're going vendor to vendor. We're going like building to building. I really wanted to see the dog herding, but because of the rain, I didn't want to stand out in the exposed rain, and even wasn't sure that they were still going to do the dog event. But honestly, walking through the barns and seeing them pull sheep out to go into the show ring, and watching the sheep get sheared, and watching the sheep get like trimmed up to get ready to go on stage, and interacting with the sheep, honestly, that was my favorite part. Listening to the different ways that they baa. Some of them are really, really deep, like scary voices, and some of them are just ma ma. Like it's so it's so much fun. I loved it, and I want sheep so bad. And if we're able to get a new house on property, like I'm gonna have sheep for sure. Like I want sheep. And I thought I wanted goats because I would really like to make goat milk. Daddy's home. I still may have a couple goats just for goat milk. But honestly, like sheep, I really want to have sheep, and I want to learn like everything there is to learn about sheep. I want to learn like about shearing, and I want to learn like all the things. I watched a bunch of videos last night just on people shearing their sheep because it's fascinating. The different breeds and the way you have to treat the different breeds because their fleece is different. It's really neat. So, with that, let's move on to what I actually purchased. Oh, I totally skipped stories. We're going along. We're doing our little shopping. I was running out of money. And so I was like, my budget's almost gone. And honestly, my budget wasn't all spent on yarn and stuff because I bought honey, I bought goat cheese, like other things for the kids. And so I think I did amazingly well with my budget. And I'm kind of proud of what I was able to purchase. I kind of bought the things that I really wanted. My door's locked. How did you do that? That was locked.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, can you take him out and close the door?
Come on. Come on. Alright, go lay down. Either one. Go lay down. Or he's staying up.
He's smiling at him, getting pet. He's like, Daddy, so he's got big old cheese on his face. So each one of these yarns have their own story, and I'm going to tell you that, but also I'm going to tell you that when we went to the last vendor on my list was Stonehenge Farms. They're from Michigan, and they have a yarn that I was looking for very specifically because I was able to purchase one a couple years ago, and it's in my wool bucket. It's the Crazy yarn, which I will show you because I bought some. No two skeins are alike. They will be similar, but every single skein of the Crazy yarn is unique. There's not another one double it. So when you buy them, you pretty much have to do a one skein project, or you have to mix and blend colors. Now, from skein to skein, it will have like this one will have red and this one will have red, but this one has blue and white and this one has green and yellow. So while they will technically go in a project together, it is not meant to be matchy-matchy. Okay? I love that idea. I practice that quite frequently in my crafting. And so I wanted to find, I think it's Stonehenge. Stonehenge fiber mills. Yeah, Stonehenge. They're in Jordan, Michigan. I was looking for them. And so I had the map open. Thank God they posted it on their feed. And then Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival reposted what they posted. So they had the map highlighted. So and we were already in the area. I was like, all right, let's go over there, because that's where I wanted to go. And it was our last stop, and then we were leaving. We were done. And so we all go. Me and Juju go off, and we find the booth. And I'm standing there. I don't think I had my hood on this time. I think I was just standing there. Juju's next to me. And I hear something from behind me. I don't think that's her. Are you sure that's her? This is what I heard. Right? And Juju goes, Mom? And I was like, yeah. She goes, and she like turns me around, right? And she's all, Cinnamon Stitches. Hey, Jen. And I noticed, since I told you guys a couple months ago, I don't, in my personal life, being called Jennifer, because I got called Jennifer when I was in trouble, and I hate when Mr. Cinnamon calls me Jennifer. And now everyone in the yarn world is trying to call me Jen, which is so super weird, because you don't know me like that. And I know that's probably confusing to most of you. I don't care one way or the other, but it's super weird when people, like, Jennifer is like, that's what teachers and policemen call you. And like, when you introduce yourself to a new person, like, I'm Jennifer, like, that Jennifer is fine in that aspect. Like, cool, like, my name is Jennifer, I understand that, but like, real close, tight relationships, I don't like being called Jennifer, and I don't like being called Jenny, unless it's by my nieces, who can call me Jenny. Okay? Or little kids can call me Jenny, that's cool. I know this is super confusing for all of you. Either way, I'm not mad no matter what you call me. Jen, Jenny, Jennifer, doesn't matter. But it's just so funny, because when I said it out loud, everyone was like, she doesn't like being called Jennifer, I'm gonna start calling her Jen. Like, I've heard it on 100 videos. People are now changing, instead of calling me Jennifer in the comments, they're calling me Jen, which is hilarious to me. So, at the same time, I have like, oh, you don't know me like that. Why? We don't know each other like that. But also, like, I know I'm sending confusing signals. It doesn't matter to me. You can call me whatever you want. Just be respectful, right? So I turn around, and there is a woman there standing there with her very tall husband. And she's all, my name's Jessica. And she started, like, you know, we started talking. We probably talked for 20, 25 minutes, maybe a half an hour, while I'm holding yarn that I have not purchased yet. And I backed away from the booth. So now the vendors are like, what, is she getting ready to walk off? Because I saw somebody steal, and the cops got involved in the big exhibition building. The cops came because people were stealing in there. So I already know. I know stuff like that happens. So I'm very careful keeping the yarn pointed towards the vendor, and I keep looking over to make sure that she knows I'm not going anywhere. But I also was engaged in conversation. It was really good conversation, right? And it ended up being Jessica and Dan. That's her husband's name. She never introduced her husband to me. I had to introduce him. I was like, what? I didn't catch your name. But we took a picture together. We took a couple pictures together, and it was crazy, because I love meeting fans in the wild. Like, it's really a neat experience. At the same time, it's really surreal that someone that you have physically never met before knows so much about you. It's strange. And it's not scary, like weird, but it's like strange, you know, that someone that you physically have never laid eyes on knows so much about you. And we were standing at the table, and I was actually debating between two colors of yarn, and I leaned over. I was like, she clearly is a fan. Her husband has watched my videos. He's familiar with me. And so I'm like, I asked her, I was like, I'm debating between these two colored yarns. And she looks at me, she goes, you don't really use green. And one of them had green, and that was the difference. One had turquoise, aqua, something like that. Maybe even teal. And the other one had more of green, like Kelly green. And I liked them both. I didn't want both because they were too similar. And she's like, you don't really use green, you don't have green. She goes, so I would get the other one. And I was like, I really like the turquoise, like that. I'm leaning more towards that one anyway. She's like, yeah, I wouldn't get the other one. And it was just strange because normally that's a question I would ask my daughter, my sister, somebody who knows me like that, you know. And Jessica clearly knew me like that because she watches. So shout out to Jessica. Thanks for the help. I also really enjoyed the conversation with her a lot. It didn't feel like I was standing there talking to a stranger. And you guys know, I've told you this before, I am incredibly socially awkward. And after an interaction like that, I will very often walk away and be like, God, why did you say that? You're so stupid. Like, why did you, like, I beat myself up every time. It's part of the social anxiety. Or I start to shut down, like, immediately, like, I don't know what to say to you. And I like, close myself off a lot. And it didn't feel like that at all, standing there talking with her. But what's funny is she said her name to me at the beginning of the interaction. And then 2 more times. And I'm like, she knows that I have a really crappy memory. And she's going to she kept saying, Jessica. And honestly, when I got to the car, I could remember her husband's name, Dan, and I could not remember her name. And he only says name once. And I was like, I want to call her Kimberly. Is her name Kimberly? And Mr. Cinnamon goes, no, her name was Jessica. And he was like 5 feet behind me, not listening to the conversation. He's all, no, it was Jessica. I was like, okay, I hope that's right. I'm like so bad with that. And I think I wanted to call her Kimberly because her hair was like reddish. And so I have a cousin whose name is Kimberly and I can't stand her. And her hair was red for, like, she was born with red hair. And I think like red hair Kimberly just kind of goes together. Because there's also a lady on TV or on the YouTube that I watch. And her name's Rebecca. And I keep wanting to call her Kimberly because she's got red hair. I have no idea what the weird connection is with that name. But whatever. Okay, so let's get on. All in all, despite the rain, I had an amazing time. The kids enjoyed it. Mr. Cinnamon enjoyed it. I don't know that the kids... Little man really liked the sheep. He really liked watching his mom interact with fans. He actually sparked up conversation with Jessica too. And Jessica has kids that are... She has at least one son that's like little man. So I didn't feel like I had to protect him so much or keep him, you know, because sometimes he says really off the wall stuff and people are like, oh, well, what is wrong with that kid? Like, I didn't feel like I had to do that with her at all because some of the conversation we were having, she gets it in more ways than one with what's going on in my life and in all kinds of aspects without giving away her information. Like, her and I related on so many different things. We're like, there's a lot of parallel ground between the two of us. I'll just say that. And she said something that has come up a lot on the channel lately is that she kept telling me that you're not alone. Like, I understand. And to hear that is something I need so bad at some points. And like, everything that's been going on right now, like in my life, like, it meant a lot to hear that you're not alone, that somebody else gets it, you know. So totally love that interaction. Now let's finally get to the yarn. I have some of my receipts. Put those over there because I keep track of everything I purchased. Now the first booth I purchased from was Fluff, and this is Angellocksfiber.square.site. And I really like the Corriedale wool. The Corriedale wool is soft. I mean, it's soft and squishy. But also, it's, I like the way it feels when it spins. I'm working with bamboo right now, and I hate it because it keeps wanting to just slide away from itself. Bamboo is harder to spin. I love the Corriedale because it wants to stick to itself a little bit. And even if it starts to untwist a little bit when I'm spinning it, it doesn't break apart as easily as other fibers. So I'm finding Merino and Corriedale are like my favorite wools. Okay. And so I saw this and I was like, she had really beautiful gradient packs. Now, if I just took and I just spun this straight through, I would get a beautiful gradient blue yarn. If I split it in half, I can spin the first skein this way and the second skein this way and then ply them. And I have a very special, beautiful reverse gradient yarn. You see where I'm going with this? So this was 4 ounces for $25. The colors are beautiful, very, very beautiful. The wool feels fantastic, like it's super squish and lush. I'm almost scared to take it out because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it back in there. Oh, the colors are even more pretty out of the bag. Oof. And it wants to open up so much. Look at these colors. It goes from dark, almost black blue to like a royal blue. I don't know what color. This is a totally different blue in itself. Then we have another blue, and then we have more of a green blue. Oh, that is so pretty. It's so pretty. It's like a pillow. And it feels so, like, it feels fantastic. And it is one long, thin roving, so I could just spin straight from this. I'm not going to. I have no idea how I'm going to get that back in the bag with just 2 hands. But $25 for 4 ounces is pretty on average. But they also had these bags. And these are, oh, this one is BFL, which stands for Blue Face Leicester, and Merino Wool. And this one is Odds and Ends Roving, which I thought they were both Odds and Ends Roving because they were both sitting on the same shelf and they both look like they're just random pieces. So the Odds and Ends Roving says, I don't have my good glasses in here, but these red ones should work. The roving can consist of any fiber imaginable. It is a mystery in every bag. If you're looking for something different, this roving is for you. If you have allergies to certain fibers, this is not for you. This is our attempt to not waste any fibers. What they do is they take the bits and the bobs and the scraps that are left over from other projects. And there's just all kinds of stuff mixed in here. So it is a true hodgepodge. Ooh, the inside is really soft. It's soft, it's squishy, it's got, and I know it's not showing up on camera, maybe right there. There is glitter in here. Yeah, right there, right there, right there. I'm seeing way more of it in my eyeballs than you guys are seeing. But it's really pretty, and I am going to have so much fun playing with this. This was $18 for 4 ounces. I have one of their cards too if you want to know any of their information. Angellocksfiber Works, high quality fibers and hand spun yarns. Angellocksfibers@gmail and Angellocksfibers.square.site. Super pretty colors. And then the other one I said is BFL, which is Blue Face Leicester, which I've never spun with, and Merino Wool, which I love spinning with. And this is also 4 ounces. And this looks like it is, again, just a roving that has been wrapped up into a tube with all these beautiful colors. And I could very well just pull this and spin it from here and get like a muddy color. But I could also peel apart some of the colors to separate them and spin those individually. There's lots of ways to spin this. So that was my first purchase, and I think that's the only fiber I purchased because I didn't want to buy too much, and I really like that she has these cute little bags on everything. See, I really want to put this back in its bag, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Oh no, we got runaway fluff. I do not know how they put it in this bag. Try to squish it down real tight and then jam it in there. I think what I'm going to do with this when I decide to spin it is break it down into smaller pieces. This is not going well. This is not going well. Alright, I think we made it. It's not as pretty as it was, but it's in there. And I'm so stoked to play with the new fiber. All right, now, the next thing I purchased was this, because this was in the big exhibition building, and this is, took my glasses off, I still can't see. The Wool Garden Original Wool Creations. There's her information. And at any time you can pause and read that. Her name is Candy Falger. She is in Myerstown, Pennsylvania. This is hand spun yarn by her beautiful hands. It is merino, cashmere, and nylon. And it is some of Jen's absolute favorite colors in the whole world. There's orange in here, and red, and purple, and pink, and yellow. And it is stunning, and it is plied so it's two twisted together. It is 4.8 ounces, 193 yards. This was the biggest purchase of the day. This was $40. It is hand spun. Okay, so when it comes to hand spun yarns, when it comes to anything that hasn't been and had extra labor involved, $40 is an amazing price for this. This is 5 ounces. I have no idea how many yards it is. Oh, it's 193 yards. I do know. But I literally was walking past, and it's in the exhibition building, so there's all kinds of people everywhere, right? And there was this tiny, tiny little booth, like the smallest booth ever. I literally could walk in, and my shoulders were almost touching both of the walls of her booth. Like, it was pretty small. And she had a rack facing the outside. And this is just sitting up there. And she also had one that was, I think, teals and blues. That was stunning. It was very springy. This is more of my electric fire colors. Like, I really like this, right? And these feel so much closer to my face than my blue glasses. It's like they're pushing on my cheeks a little bit. It's sitting up on like a wire rack, right? And I stopped what I was doing because it was just me and Juju at this point. I walked over it and I went, oh, it's so soft. And I turned around. I'm like, Juju, you gotta touch this. And the vendor's outside the booth standing there like right next to me. And I was like, Juju, you gotta touch this. And Juju goes, oh, that is soft. I'm like, it feels like a cloud. Like, it feels so luscious. And is this not beautiful? It's so pretty. This is my favorite thing that I have purchased in a long time. And the fact that she hand spun it, I mean, it was just really cool, right? I was like, I did not set it back down. I looked at a couple other things, but I'm holding it like this. Like, it's my baby. It's coming home. And the vendor goes, that one is really pretty. I was like, it's so soft. I was like, I have to have it. And I walked into the booth to pay. Battery change. Now, I will say this also. When you have cash on hand, a lot of times there's not any other fees or anything. But when you pay with the credit card at a lot of those events, they charge you fees. They charge you taxes and other fees and stuff to cover their cost for using a credit card and whatever. And that's another reason I really like using cash at these events, because like, this is marked $40. I handed her two 20s and we were done. Like, the transaction was done. And I started to walk out because I was happy, and she brings me my receipt and she's like, oh, here's my information. Like, here's your receipt. It literally just says $40 and the date, and it says her information that's already on her tag. So did I need this? No. But she wanted me to have her information. I took it, you know. I told her, I was like, it's so beautiful. Like, it's so beautiful. And she was really proud because she's the one that spun it, you know. It was just, this is my favorite purchase in a long, long time. Like, whatever this is going to be, it's going to have to be worn around my neck probably. I'm thinking about maybe mixing it with either royal purple or black. Because there is royal purple in there, but like, I mean, it's so pretty. This reminds me of one of the colorways from a cake from Premier Yarns, and I don't have anymore because I worked it up into a project. And so like, these colors are, I think it's called Lava Lamp or something like that. All right, now, this vendor, and you're not gonna be surprised that I bought rainbow colors, because I mean, rainbows, I mean, it's Jen, right? This vendor was also in the main exhibition building, and It is Helix DK from Ewetopia. She had a lot of this style of marled yarns. And come on, let's spot focus on. There we go. These are the same colorway. And they are totally different, which is why I got 2 of them. Because, and I don't know anything about Ewetopia. These are the color, this is the colorway Love is Love. And they both have the same code, 03-2024. Ewetopia is in Viroqua, Wisconsin. On Main Street. Ewetopiafibershops.com. Processed at Ewetopia Fire Mill in Lafarge, Wisconsin. This yarn is hand-dyed in small batches in small pots. Please purchase enough for your project. Due to the nature of the processing of the yarn, each skein is as unique as a person. Same colorway. One has blue, one does not. Or the blue is like, look at the difference between the blue here and the blue here. These are the same colorway. We use metal-free professional acid dyes that have superior color fastness and vibrancy of your color. Color fastness means it sticks to the fiber. This makes your yarn safe for the environment and also for you. It's 100% USA Rambouillet and Targi wool. Neither of which I think I've ever had. Wash in cold water, lay flat to dry. This is the Helix DK. And to make sure they're both DK because, I mean, there was a lot going on. 260 yards, so I have 520 yards between the 2 of them. I could make a shawl out of this very easily. I could probably make a lacy top out of this very easily for myself. But, oh, same colorway. Totally different. Which is why I really like their yarn. They had another colorway of the Helix DK, and it was greens and blues, and it was so beautiful. There was like aqua and teal and like all the shades in between. And I was debating between this and that one, and I was like, I don't really wear blue a lot. I don't really use blue a lot, and so you guys already know I was leaning towards the rainbow. But yeah, there is green in here. I was gonna say this doesn't have green in it. There's green in there. At least it looked like there was green down there. So, I thought those were so pretty. They're not like buttery soft, like at all, but they're not like sticky, you know? And then, that was my chair, that was not my butt. I know you heard that. These are the crazy yarns. This is what I was telling you about that I was looking for. So this is crazy yarn from Stonehenge Fiber Mills. Crazy. No 2 are alike, which is very similar to these. These were not 2 alike. They were the same colorway though. These don't have colorways. 2-ply sport weight, 230 yards, approximately 2.5 ounces. Oh, this one is way more legible than that one. Hand wash, do not agitate. StonehengeFibermill.com. And then it says crazy, no 2 are alike. And that is all the information is on here because these do not have color names, color numbers, lot numbers, because literally no 2 are alike. And if you looked at the whole table, this is the one I was telling you about with the story with Jessica. It was the same pinks and purples, but instead of having this blue, it had green and something else in it. So it would have went with this very nicely. But I didn't want 2 of the same. Like, I already purchased these, so I wanted as different could be. And I literally just walked up to the table and grabbed the colors that stood out to me the most. So we know that I love red, white, and blue, and the aesthetic of that. And this is also kind of leaning, and there's green in there. It probably would go with this. Absolutely. Except this is a sport weight, this is DK. That's so crazy. They totally could go together. This one's a little bit more squishy. It also doesn't say what kind of wool this is. It just says fine wool. So, like I said, this one's kind of like parrot, right? So it's got red, blue, and green. So I'm thinking like macaw, African parrot, something like that, right? And then there's this one, which had black in it, which the black is what drew me into this one, and has a beautiful like aqua color. And then there's also some red in here. So these probably could be mixed in a project together without a problem. But I just bought them because I like the uniqueness of the colorways. And then this one also has the blue, but it has pinks and purples. And this one has kind of purple. So they don't make sense, but they don't have to. And they're so pretty. They're so pretty. And so between the three of these, I have 690 yards between the three of these. And I have, I think, at least one more of these in a different colorway. I'm going to have to find it so that they can live together in a project bag until they become something. But I know that I have at least one more of these. I think I might have 2 of these. But as you can see, like, marled was the color of the day today, because everything I bought was this type of marled style. And these were only $18 a hank, whereas these were, I want to say these were 30. I don't think I have a receipt for these. I do not. I want to say these were 30. These may have been 25 each, but I want to say they were 30. Let me see if I can find information on their website. What did I say their website was? I will link as much of this information below as I can, but this video is going to take a long time to edit because I'm putting in clips and stuff. Ewetopiafibershop.com. They spelled Utopia wrong. Not Ethiopia. Ah. Cute little shop. If you live anywhere near Viroqua, go check them out. They were super nice. They were really, really nice there. Yarn. Mr. Cinnamon is on a business call. Helix DK. That's not it. Do they have a search function? No. Yarn. I'm trying to see. They have a ton of different yarns. The ones Helix DK. Found it. $32. And they have a ton of colors. Trying to see if I can find the blue that they had on their, I think this was the one. So I was leaning between this one and this one, is I think. I'm not even positive on that. Let's see if they have Love is Love on here. Yep. And see how different each skein looks? Those are all the same colorway, and that's all the Love is Love ones. $32, and that's Ewetopia, E-W-E, Ewetopia. So like a U. Ewetopia. What did I say the website was? Fibershop.com in Wisconsin. And then this one is Stonehenge, hedge, like a bush. Stonehenge Fiber Mills. So, final thoughts. I want to go back next year. I definitely want to go back next year. I want to have a larger budget. My child. This is my niece. I got a story about her, but I'm not going to tell it because she's going to be mad if I do. But she called me last night in a panic. I wanted to smack her so bad. It was one of those mom calls like, I need help, I'm dying. And she wasn't dying at all, but she was panicking. And it was funny because she thought she was dying. Something's terribly wrong with her. And I'm asking her all these questions. I was like, it could be this, could be that, could be that. I don't have time for it. She's had full-on meltdown. I don't have time to deal with this. I got finals and I got this. And I was like, sometimes stuff like that happens at the worst time of your life to make you take a break because your body needs it. And I kid you not, she's in the verge of tears, crying, whining at me, and she walks into her building where she lives, her dorm, and her friend comes up to her, well, what'd she say? And her whole everything changed, like nothing was wrong with her. And she's like, well, she thinks it could be this, this, and this, and I need to go take Motrin and lay down, and I didn't feel good after I woke up. Whereas on the phone with Aunt Jenny, I woke up and I was in so much pain. And to her friend, she's like, yeah, I just didn't feel good after I woke up. And then she goes, Aunt Jenny, thank you so much, but I'm gonna let you go right now, okay? I love you, bye. I'm gonna drive over the mountain and beat you. What is wrong with you? Multiple personalities or something like so. She just texted me now saying, no, she's fine. She's got a doctor's appointment a little bit. But overall thoughts on Maryland sheep and wool. I wish it wasn't raining. Oh, another funny story on that. When we went to the Fiber Fest in Carolinas, it was pouring down rain. And it was pouring down rain at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. And a little man looks at me and he goes, does it always rain at these events? I was like, no, but it does seem that way, don't it? And also, like, the Fiber Fest in New York got rained out really bad a couple months ago, and like it's just been a bad year for Fiber Fest, you know. Rhinebeck, I think it was. But it was just funny. I was like, no, baby, it doesn't always rain at these events. It does seem that way, though. I think everybody enjoyed it, though. I think we all enjoyed it. We didn't stay very long because the rain really put a damper on it. And after a while, like, you're walking on wet, sopping, rocky grounds, and you're getting heavier and heavier because your clothes are getting sopping wet. And it takes a toll on your body walking around wet like that. And so I noticed a lot of people were coming and going and leaving, you know. And so we caught another bus to go back to our car. And this bus didn't stink at all like my grandfather. And so I was very happy. And she was super nice. She was definitely a school bus driver. And she was like the fun school bus driver, you know. And everybody's like, thank you so much for the ride, because it's pouring down rain at this point. And she's like, oh, you're so welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. To everybody that walks by. And it was just really, it was a fun experience. And then on the way home, because I had a little bit of money left over, I was like, you know what, let's just stop and get something to eat. And generally when we stop and get something to eat, everybody gets their own meal. It gets really expensive really fast because everybody wants something different. And like, you know, I was like, we're stopping at, and I'm going to recommend a gluten-free place to you that is in Springfield. I think it's in Springfield, Virginia. It's called Hangry Burger, like hangry, not hungry, hangry, Hangry. And almost everything in their facility is gluten-free with the exception of one hamburger bun. And they're really careful in there. And they have, I want to say that the people are Middle Eastern or something like that, because some of their seasonings lean towards Middle Eastern flavors. Could be India. I don't know. It's anywhere in that, over in that region area where it's like some of those spices and flavors, which I happen to love. Not everything in the restaurant tastes like that, but like they have seasonings that tell you that, hey, like we have specific flavor profiles with, you know, curry flavors, or like trying to think of what other flavor profile that I've experienced, but they have a lot of different flavor profiles, and it just reminds me of like either Middle Eastern or India or African type flavors. And what is really amazing is that they have fried chicken tenders, hamburgers that naturally come on gluten-free buns, or you can special order a regular one for the people who are not gluten-free. They have battered onion rings, like not cracker crumb battered or like cornmeal battered, but like the tempura style battered onion rings. They have deep fried asparagus in a tempura style gluten-free batter. Their french fries are pretty good. I don't remember what else they have, but that's pretty much what we ordered. So instead of saying, hey, you're going to get a meal, you're going to get a meal, you're going to get a whatever, I placed the order because I'm like, I'm paying, I'm still working within my budget. This is what we're ordering. So I ordered 2 orders of French fries at like $3 a pop. I ordered 3 orders of asparagus because we all really like the asparagus, except little man hates asparagus, and so that's why I ordered 3. 2 orders of onion rings, an order of chicken tenders, onion rings, chicken tenders, French fries, asparagus. I think that's all I ordered. And I split it between the boxes. So I made everybody a meal with 2 chicken tenders, a handful of fries. I think we got 3 onion rings per person. Giant onion rings. And then me, Juju, and Mr. Cinnamon all got an order of asparagus because little man will not eat that. And we had a little car picnic. And it was a really nice meal. And because I picked what we were eating, and it pretty much said eat it or starve, it only cost me like $50. Instead of everybody get their own meal at $12 a pop. That adds up a lot. And by the time drinks and everything come, it's $100. Because I know we've ordered from there before. And it was $100. So I was like, $50. We all had a really nice dinner. We had a car picnic. It was fun. It was a good time. We got home. We were exhausted. Mr. Cinnamon fell asleep and was snoring very loudly on the couch. And that was in 2 different videos. And I had him listen. I was like, you're snoring. His hearing is going. And he's all, I don't hear nothing. I was like, you're clearly snoring in the background. He's all, I don't hear nothing. I was like, well, you're snoring. I can hear it because I had my headphones on. I was like, it was loud. So I do apologize for that. But he was exhausted by that. He's also the driver. So he drove 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back. Walking around carrying my bag for me, you know, doing all the husbandry stuff. And the kids both immediately came home and went upstairs. They were tired. And I'm like, I'm still wired. I had a good time. I'm going to go make some videos. And so I recorded a members video. I recorded Monday Makes video. I edited the members video. And then I'm like, okay, maybe now I'm tired. I'm going to go sit on the couch and crochet for a little bit. So that's what I did. I actually finished this shawl. And this is going to... I'm going to need to make another one for to perfect it, but this is going to be a pattern here on the channel. That's going to be a tutorial. I will show that in the future, but I want to rework it and I want to perfect it a little bit. And I'm going to give you many options for yarns on what you can use from that, and of course with some of my affiliate links. So you will have options to what kind, because that's made out of wool, and I know not everybody likes wool, not everybody can use wool. And so I'm going to give you options. This is Knit Picks wool, but there's also Lion Brand Ferris wheel will work for that. I'm trying to think of what other yarn, like there's definitely options. I'm going to come up with different options. And the point of that tutorial is going to be use your stash. I mean, you can buy the yarn. I'm going to give you links for that, but use your stash. Here are some of the options for what's in your stash or could be in your stash already that you could work this up as. And, I just think that's going to be a lot of fun to do that as a tutorial. And, yeah. My goal this week is to cake up some of these yarns and play with them. Specifically this one. Although, I don't know if I want to cake this. I don't think I'm ready to cake this up yet. I think I just want to look at it. It smells so good. I just want to look at it and cuddle it for a little while. And then we'll figure out the perfect project to make this out of. But it's so pretty, and it's still my favorite. Like, I'm looking at all the beautiful yarns that I've purchased recently or have had for a while, and I'm like, this is my favorite of all times, probably. It's so pretty, and it so screams my name. I'm not dissatisfied with anything I purchased. I'm really happy with everything, but that screams my name. It, like, yelled to me from across the aisle. Like, I was on the other side. The aisles were pretty wide in the main exhibition hall, and it was way over there, and I saw it, and I was like, I literally, me and Juju were having a conversation, walking arm in arm, and I went, and then I just stopped the conversation and walked over there and grabbed it, because I was like, yeah, I need it. Like, it literally was like a magnet pulling me in. Do I have any advice for the Sheep and Wool Festival? Research and budget. Research and budget. two main things for any kind of these events. Research what you, make a list of what you want or need, stick to it. I mean, allow yourself for one or two splurge items that you know you just can't live without, but stick to what you, like, make a list and stick to it so you don't overspend. Pull cash out and have the cash so that when you see that your wallet is empty, you know you have no more money to spend and you're done. Walk away. Keep a couple dollars in your pocket and go buy yourself a snacky poo. I mean, that's the best way to do it. At least that's what the best way for me. Because when I went to the last Fiber Fest, I didn't have cash. I was swiping and I wasn't keeping track of what I was spending. And I way overspent. I went like $150, $200 over my budget. And I'm like, we're not doing that ever again. We're going to have cash in hand. And what I did is I folded up certain amounts in my wallet. So it was like, there's 20s here, there's 20s here, there's 20s here. And I just kept them. She's going to drive me crazy. She's going to keep calling. I'm going to put that in the drawer. Because it's going to keep dinging. Because she's going to let it. She will call and call and call and call. It's my niece. Until I answer the phone. Not knowing that, hey, Aunt Jenny might be working right now. I should call her back later. No. Because I didn't answer her text. She's going to call me 800 times. And she knows I always answer for her. And I know it's going to keep dinging. You're going to watch. It's going to ding for like 3 hours. And it's going to drive me crazy. See, I can't even think now because it's dinging. She's fine. I read the text. She's fine. Nothing's wrong with her. She's such a spaz sometimes. It's gonna keep going. She'll ring it until I answer the phone. Why didn't you answer, Aunt Jenny? She'll hang up. Oh, she hung up. She called right back. Well, you'll see. You will see. Or she'll call my husband, or she'll call Juju. I totally lost any thought that I was trying to have. I know I was talking about budget. I think the best part is to remember to have fun and to not to put yourself into a financial hole. And I think I did a really good job with that because I came home with cash in my pocket still. I think I did really good. I had an amazing time. I want to go again tomorrow, but they're not open. Like, I wanted to immediately wake up the next day and drive back up there and go again. And just play with the sheep and just touch the wools and the yarns. And I wanted so bad to come home with a fleece and just try to process the fleece. I am so down this rabbit hole of spinning and wool and sheep. Like, I'm so far down it. All I can see around me is sheep. Which might be why I'm yawning so much, because I'm counting them as they go by. It's like 1, 2, 3, yawn, 4. I definitely recommend you looking into yarn festivals, sheep festivals around you. I have noticed there's a ton in the spring and there's a ton in the fall. And there's a ton in the spring because we're shearing the sheep for the summertime, getting ready for the summer. And I don't know why there's so many in the fall. Because, like, the sheep are regrowing their fluff. I don't know why there's a lot in the fall. Maybe they're just trying to get rid of what they had from the springtime that hasn't sold. I don't know. I don't understand that. But I know that there is the Shenandoah fiber something or another. It's in September. I think it's September 22nd this year. I'm definitely going to try to go to that. I already told Mr. Cinnamon I want to go to that. I had so much fun. And I'm going to continue to research if there's any more within driving distance, because especially the ones with the animals. The small fiber fest, like the one in Carolina, was cool, and I had a good time, but it was really just a big shopping expo, and I don't want to go to a shopping expo. I want to go to agricultural, like, events. I love that. When I was growing up, there was, we went to the state fair a lot when I was little, and we couldn't afford to ride the rides. We could barely afford to buy a food item while we were there, or we'd have to, like, share a basket of french fries or something. We couldn't afford, like, the souvenirs and stuff at the state fair, but we always went as a family, and we went and looked at the animals, and we watched some of the shows. And I remember sitting in the big stadium at Michigan State Fair grounds and watching the horse show. The horse shows were my dad's favorite. Like, they did all kinds of stuff with horses. And I love those memories as a kid because they were so simple. And we also went to Kensington Metro Park. They had a really nice petting zoo there. And we always went there. And that was just a really fun day. My mom would pack potted meat sandwiches and a bag of Better Made potato chips. And she would usually pack, like, I want to say Faygo, because Faygo was really cheap. And we only got Faygo on special occasions. We were not allowed to drink soda growing up, but she would pack Faygo for like special occasions. And we would go have a picnic on a blanket and pet there were sheep there, and there was cows, and there was a turkey that tried to eat my sister's dress. Like, we would go sit down by the lake and just like watch the water go by. And me and Mr. Cinnamon took Juju to do that when she was a baby too. It was like really, really good memories going to Kensington. And then years later, the city of Taylor made a small little petting farm. So I have a lot of memories that are agriculturally based growing up, even though I grew up in a very urban setting, like very urban ghetto is the way I was raised. But also my grandfather down the street, he had all kinds of fowl. He had geese and chickens and pheasants, and my uncle raised pigeons. And so, I mean, I have a lot of really good memories of agricultural type stuff growing up. And I think that's why I so long for just living on property with animals. I just want, I crave it so bad. And so going to these type of events where there's actually like stuff you can pet and be around, I love that so much. It makes me so ridiculously happy. Juju actually took a video of me petting the sheep, and I was like, or maybe I wasn't petting the sheep at the time. I don't know, but I could hear my voice in the video after I rewatched it. And I was like, I don't know why I'm so ridiculously happy just being here by these sheep. Like, it made me so, I was giggling like a little kid. Like, I was like, oh my God, the sheep. I was so excited. And it's silly that something so normal to some people who literally raise sheep is so exuberating to me. Like, so I just so happy, and I don't know why sheep make me so happy. I don't know why yarn and wool makes me so happy, but it does. And life is too short not to find those things that make you that ridiculously happy and do it. Doesn't matter what it is. I mean, if you get that ridiculously happy over plants, you need to be around plants. You need to go to a plant sale, or you need to go plant stuff in the backyard, which reminds me I need to go do that because I have some bulbs that need to be planted. Life is too short not to do things that make you ridiculously happy for no reason. And if you have something that makes you happy, find a way to do it. Just find a way. I'm going to let you go. And I thank you so much for listening to me ramble on for all of this. I don't even know how long we've been talking, and let me show you what I purchased and tell you my stories about the events with my family. I really, really needed it so bad. I think we all needed it. And just thank you for being here with me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Like Hermione, dude, I'm so excited. I do too.
Top to bottom, there's differences, there's type and kind things that we can really sort on, but for me, I landed on the one that's just the most complete, most dual-purpose, most correct all the way through. I think this one's an LU is super correct on her feet and legs. Maybe she's just a little bit weaker top, but that's okay because it makes her some flex and comfort. She's really giving the showman all she wants to really get her evaluated, but I really love the fleece on this sheep. Really heavy fleece, it's very uniform from shoulder to bridge. It's to it when it gets along like that. You do loosen that grip out on the tips. Hard to get inside of it. There's some a lot of grip there, a lot of character. Very, very cool.
Your little curly cues are so stinking cute.
German brand, 3186, that was also your